Welcome to Melt. I'm Suresh Venkat. This week, we're coming to you from the EdTech company upGrad's headquarters in Mumbai. Founded in 2015, this online learning platform focuses on only higher education and is one of the few edtechs to achieve unicorn status. To know more, we're in conversation today with Arjun Mohan, CEO of upGrad India. What role does marketing play in building an edtech brand? Let's find out as we get ready to melt with Arjun Mohan. All right, Arjun, first question for you. How does upGrad stand apart from all the others in the edtech world?
You are bang on to the point right here. Yeah, so edtech as a whole, if you look at it, largely is divided into two categories, the K-12 and the higher ed space. We operate in the higher ed space. The way I put it, it's not been a very glamorous space for a really long time because K-12 has been the blue-eyed boy. But we always had a lot of confidence in this space because this was finally formal education, not a supplementary education. And that's how we always have seen it. And that's how we have differentiated ourselves. From the perspective of upGrad, what is different about it from a consumer perspective, when you compare with other players, two things comes in there. Number one is the history we have, or the number of alumni we have who have successfully transitioned and got an outcome after going through the courses in upGrad. Number two is the obsessive focus we have on outcomes, where we say that if you are a learner who are coming to us, there's one thing which you can be sure about. That is, we'll help you achieve your outcome. So we have a personalized approach to that, understanding what outcome are they looking at, and then we work with them to make that happen. And that is the reason why, if you look at almost 100,000 alumni today, I can call anyone and say, can you put in a good word with us about us? We'll be ready to do that. So you can say that it's a very soft form of positioning, not a very easy thing to explain, because anyone who comes and tells me, I will have to take some time to explain to me, hey, this is the thing. But in my view, this is the only way you can do it in education. It's finally about giving that objective the learner came into us. So that's how we differentiate.
You know, in traditional categories like auto and FMCG, they say making a stellar product, half the battle of the marketer is won. And the other half of marketing jobs is to create consideration on the part of the consumer. What is the role of marketing in an edtech company?
First of all, I don't agree with the first statement. In today's world, I don't think it's just about creating a stellar product.
Okay.
At the stage we are in, you make a stellar product, within a week, your competition can also mimic it. So I don't really think it is just about it. It is essential today that you take the message about your stellar product to the market. Explain to the consumer how this is going to change their life. How is it going to be helpful for them? So hence, I believe as a marketer that marketing is an essential component of any product which we go out and sell. There may be some outliers, but I believe everyone in some stage or the other will need a stellar marketing. In education specifically, I believe it is important to have a large focus on marketing because of the simple fact that large part of our country still doesn't realize how important education is for them. They don't realize or have the confidence that with education, I can have a transition in my life, how I can make it better. Take for simple example, right? Maybe not now, take 5 years behind. Look at the list of people who make into an IIM or an IIT. And you see how many of them come from the top cities in this country. So fundamentally, getting to these top institutions are not about intelligence. It's about exposure. And what is exposure? It is getting exposed to more and more information. I see marketing that way. Can I tell the people that, hey, this is going to be the most important investment in your life? And that's where, in my view, marketing plays an important role in education.
And does edtech still need to market the idea of online education, or did the pandemic do that for you?
I think we still need to explain to people how this is unique and how this can be helpful. See, this is the way I see, right? When I am talking to my consumer, typically this is a person who has spent 12 to 15 years studying in a classroom. And you're going in there telling him that, hey, whatever you did for 12, 15 years, that is not really necessary, you could have done it online. That's not easy for anyone to accept. That's not easy for their parents to accept, right? So it's a generational shift. It will take time. Pandemic definitely have accelerated. It gave us an opportunity. Some of the companies took advantage of it, like the way I would like to think. Some of the companies screwed it up. But whatever said and done, it gave us a window of opportunity. And I think it has created a change which will not go back. So yeah, that's how I see it.
All right. What is your media mix like, Arjun? A combination of TV and digital, print and online. How do you view your media mix?
It's a little unique thing for upGrad. So fundamentally, and this is the traditional thought process, right? When you are a digitally delivered or a digitally distributed product, the first thing which comes to your mind is I should do my marketing digitally. I should acquire my customer digitally because that's where my product is. I can make them experience it, so on and so forth, right? So that's been the traditional thought process. But what we have tried to do is we have gone to those media where our customer is consuming it. So today, if you look at it, I am just not focused on digital. Yes, it has become predominantly digital because thanks to pandemic, most of my customers are more digital. But it's a combination. End of pandemic, we had around, today also we have around 50 to 60% invested in digital. Then we have a combination of TV plus a lot of outdoor. So today's phase, what we are seeing is that post-pandemic, people love to go out. People love to have experiences.
Revenge shopping, revenge eating.
Absolutely. At least they would like to go out and spend some time out there. So one of the investments we have done, and this was a calculated one in last few quarters, is we have started opening upGrad experience centers. So we have around 40 of them across the country, and we don't run it. We have entrepreneurs running it so that they also make money out of it. We have gone into IT park and set up upGrad kiosk. All of these are our experience marketing level. So we see this as long-term investment, which is essential to convince the customer to make that decision to upskill. So today, if you look at it, my mix is a combination of digital, TV, offline. Print I use whenever I need to send out a large announcement, which requires credibility. Okay, so this is a very interesting thing. So we launched a US program with an institution, educational institution, university called Golden Gate University in San Francisco. Now that's a very famous university, but people here don't know it. So I had to do something to build credibility here, and print I find as a very, very useful weapon for it. Same case with CAT. Immediately after CAT, I'm sure you remember our ad which we did. See, that was more like a statement, because we know that the customers at that point, large number of people at that time is thinking about CAT. And hence I know that if I do a print, I will be able to get a lot of impressions on it. So that's how we do it. We don't have a standardized percentage associated with it. How do we do is that we start with a mix and then we keep iterating, looking at the data on where our ROI is and keep changing it. That's how we do marketing.
For those of our print media owners watching this show, they're going to be very happy with your ringing endorsement that print adds credibility. Another question is, how do you separate performance marketing from brand marketing? How much of energy goes into performance and how much into brand?
So if you look at upGrad, or for that matter, any EdTech, right, we run an assisted sales system. That means that the customer comes to our website, is interested, drops a lead. We have a counselor who reaches out to them, solves all questions, counsels them, and converts it out. Hence, having a lead is a very important part of our sales process. And hence, performance marketing becomes a very important aspect, because then I'm saying that I'll invest this money and I'll get leads from it. How we use brand is to understand, is at right critical point when we see that our performance cost is reaching a point where it is not sustainable. So fundamentally, it's about, I look at brand, from a very technical marketing perspective, I look at brand as more about building the top of the funnel, and performance to convert the funnel from top all the way mid and bottom of the funnel. So that's the mix, and that's why I say that it's not a hard and fast rule. It's an exercise which we keep doing every month of moving money from one to another so that the CPLs and the ROI works fine.
And digital startups like upGrad, Arjun, are obsessed with metrics, am I right? Yes. As a CEO, what metrics matter to you the most?
See, for me, if we are building a business, it has to be profitable. It has to sustain. So I look at everything from that metric. I want to be clear that as an organization, if you're investing a rupee onto something, we need to have a return on investment. So we internally, we build up complex models. I end up saying that complex. It doesn't start as complex, but by the time it reaches, it becomes complex. Tracking ROI of everything we do. So there are multiple metrics on the way, which is when you're doing performance, there is something called as CTR, CPR, the CPVs, the V2Ls and the L2P. But fundamentally, whatever we invest, either in sales and marketing, we look at it from, or I look at it from an ROI perspective. And for every investment, I have a timeline for that ROI. So I track it till that timeline. Now, ROI will not look good in the initial time. So there are intermediate parameters, like the way I told you, the L2Ps and V2L gives me an understanding if it is moving in the right direction. So yeah, so these are the metrics I track.
And in a data-rich industry like yours, how much of your decisions are based on just completely data-driven and how much is gut instinct?
This is a very tough question because you don't realize you're taking a decision from your gut till the time you've taken it. Okay, so it's hard to say. We try to be as data oriented as possible, but at times you will have to make a decision from your gut. And once you think back on it, you realize that that was also not gut, it was your experiences. So one way I can say that it was also data built from your experience, although you can't Excel sheet or model it out. So if you want me to put a number on it, I would say 80-20 will be the ratio. We try to be as data oriented as possible, but there are times where you have to take that leap of faith.
Let's talk about your video advertising, especially the one where Amitabh breaks up your office. So lots of humor and subversive humor in your advertising. Is it an offshoot of your personal sense of humor? Is it something that the agency comes up with? How does it work, the humor in your ads?
It is more about what my customer or my learner will be interested in seeing. See, the way I see it is we are in a very clutter-prone world. The consumer we are talking to is targeted by maybe 1 million brands every day. I get 30 seconds from him. How do I make sure that he is excited and he is giving me that 30 seconds of attention? So what we realize is that today's consumer is very personalized. They want to watch what they like to watch. They don't really get bothered about what is coming on television, what their parents have watched, or what is considered standard for them to watch. They believe in watching they like. And when we research more and more of our consumer or our learners, we understood that there was this common thread of humor which they all loved. One of the reasons why they had more affinity towards YouTube influencers rather than going to a TV or other things. And that's what we tried to do in our ads, speak their language. So if you look at our earlier ads, right, the Donkey series which we did, it was all about office politics fundamentally. We saw that a lot of our learners felt that they are not able to go up in life because of office politics. So we made a funny twist to it. So that's kind of become an upgrade signature. But fundamentally, again, this is more about understanding our consumer well. Now, when we launched, coming to this Amitabh Bachchan ad, when we launched Upgrade Abroad, that was a very different audience. That was an audience which required, which was again youngsters trying to go abroad. But these youngsters were not financially independent. They required their parents to spend money. And it's a big decision. It's just not about money, right? It's about sending your kid outside.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to talk to someone who is credible, trustworthy. And our product is an innovation. So how we do it as a hybrid program, half in India, online, and rest abroad. Same kind of outcome, same kind of visa possibilities. But then, and for a lot of customers, it was parents especially, it was too good to be true. They said, how is it possible? The agent is telling me it will cost, you are telling me 40% less. Is it really true? So hence we deviated from our regular, a marketing approach of not having a celebrity and got in someone who is trusted very well by parents, which was Mr. Bachchan. And that was the ad. But then when you get Bachchan also, finally there is an upgrade signature, the humor part of it. And that's where...
And did the celebrity deliver in ROI terms?
Absolutely. So our business have been, study abroad business have shown tremendous growth. I think this year I don't want to quote the number till we get there, but we will be able to almost triple the business from what we were in the last few quarters. Hence, the ad has really delivered. It has also delivered because the overall strategy, it was just not about doing it, as you said, right, TV. It was a mixed strategy. We also did a lot of events in smaller towns from where most of these students come. With Amitabh Bachchan, it helped us get a lot of parents and students and to our events, and the conversion happened.
So Arjun, is a lot of your marketing directed at tier 2 and tier 3 then?
Certain products, yes, not all of them. It is completely product dependent. For instance, there are certain products like data science, machine learning, which is largely focused on the metros, because that's where most of the tech companies are based. And these are one level up roles. These are typically taken by people who are already in these companies and are looking for the next jump. So they are predominantly based in larger cities. Tier 2 is working out very well for businesses like study abroad, businesses like degrees, even the certificate business, we are seeing growth from this. But finally, this upskilling business, especially when you're talking to working professionals, especially the IT crowd, you need cities where IT is located. So it's more of a dependent on where the offices are. But yeah, the other businesses, especially the ones related to students, are doing really well across. India is very,
And
very
your
aspirational.
marketing also targets verticals in your own. Tell us how this works. What is this vertical targeting?
Yeah, so when we started building upGrad, from the marketing perspective, we knew few years, 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago, that the first step was all about awareness, because nobody even knew it. So that's where the initial focus was, the new positioning and so on and so forth. We saw that as the awareness went up, right, with every campaign, we saw that the incremental impact kept on reducing. So we felt that now from stage 1, it's moving to stage 2, which is from awareness, it needs to move to consideration. Now, when we are making a consideration ad, it should ideally tell the customer not about the brand, but what is in for you in that brand. And hence we said that, okay, rather than saying upgrade would mean different things for different people. For a techie, it may mean data science. For someone who is looking at learning tech, it may mean full stack development. For someone who is already doing a job and wants to become a manager, it may mean MBA. So we started cohortizing the customer. And to each of this cohort, rather than talking about upgrade, we started talking about which vertical will be more relevant. Again, it is a purely data-driven ROI messaging mechanism where we started doing this. This was possible because of the way digital now allows you to target different cohorts. And because of this simple fact that over a period of time, we also understands which kind of customer, which kind of lookalike will work for different kinds of products. So that's been the reason.
Other than the obvious reasons, one being I don't like my boss or my company, second, I want to make more money. What are some of the other factors that motivate people to acquire new skills or upskill?
So number one, so if you look at all the customer who comes to us, right, and the outcomes they look at, the three kinds of outcomes. Number one, as you rightly said, transition. That is, I don't like this domain. I want to go into new domain. Could be all these things. I don't like my boss. I don't like my work. I want more money, so on and so forth. Yeah. So that's one. Second is acceleration, where you say that I'm happy where I am, but I think that I can go much faster, but I don't have the skill set for it. So that's the second. Third, and the most pronounced, I mean, it was very tough for me also to understand, accept it, but the data shows that, is professional confidence. Most of the people in the jobs today feel that they can do much more if they are if someone handholds them and gives them a structured understanding of the domain they are working. So that's been the biggest reason. Okay, so this is the outcome, this is the reasons why people come to us. And what we do is, when they come to us, we put this as the outcome you're looking at, and then we track over the next 6 months how they are doing on that outcome. And that is the reason why we are able to deliver it.
Improving one's marital prospects is not one of the driving factors?
Yeah, so that is the other part of it, right? This is, I'm talking about a person with outcome of it. Now, let's talk from a marketing perspective, right? So when we market to a customer on buying a product, right? Typically, an upskilling product or an education product is priority number 5. Okay, and it typically requires a shock in a person's life to start considering it seriously. I'm now joking. I'm talking about the remaining 25% of the people, not the original one who are clear about it. And that shock is one of the things which you said. That is, the girl I liked rejected me because I'm not upskilled enough, or I am not making.
I don't have an MBA, or I don't have a master's in data science. Yes. So that could be a factor as well, right?
It is. And I'm had multiple, but these things don't obviously come out. You need to have a counselor, talk to them, understand, and they'll say that, see, I need to go up. These are my dreams and I'm not able to achieve. What should I do? It's simple. You make yourself better. And that's what they do end up doing finally.
And does upGrad have a social listening program where you listen to chatter about upGrad? What are people saying about EdTech? What are people saying about your company, which may not reflect in formal surveys?
We do that. Obviously, I think every organization do that because we need to be clear on what is that people are talking to us. Two reasons for it. Number one is if people are talking something negative to us, we need to talk to them. And we are one company which put in a lot of effort to that. We don't really want people having any misconceptions to us. So we reach out to them, we listen to them, we understand what the problem is. If there is something from our side, we solve it. If it's not and it's just a troll, then we say that this is what it is. So that's one. Number two is this is a very important aspect to generate consumer insights. It gives you a lot of understanding on where the market is going. Is the market looking at data science? Is the market looking at FST? How seriously are people looking at MBA today? Is it still hot? Which domain in MBA is going? So a lot of these inputs come to us.
Comes from social
listening. And this helps us a lot in building the new products. We always believe that we should be one step ahead of our customer in building new products, because most of the times even customer doesn't know what is looking at. Yeah, so that's what we do.
Now the government is making some noises about regulating the EdTech sector. Does this concern you as an entrepreneur?
Beginning, I told you about the K-12 and higher ed. One good part has been that higher ed has been largely out of all this noise. Government may bring, it's up to us to figure out how they will bring a regulation in the K-12 space because it's supplementary learning. A higher ed space, if you look at it, it's already a highly regulated space. So you have UGC, you have AICT, all these regulators have clearly mandated on what universities can do, what we can do, how we can do. So from the beginning, we have been very clear about following everything. And hence, I don't see any issues coming in there. I think all the regulators are also pretty clear on what are the things to be done, where we constantly talk to them, understand their perspective. So that's one part which we don't want to do it wrong, because finally it's education and we have to follow the laws of the land.
All right. So now finally, let's literally wade into a little bit of controversy. You made headlines recently when you came to work in a tractor. What is going on in your mind?
So it was a little bit blown out of proportion also, because all I did was I was going to work, and because there was no electricity, no power, no internet to home, so I could not have definitely worked from home, and I had to go to office because it's a working day. There were so many things to be done, and on the way there was a place which I could not pass, so the locals helped me pass in a tractor. And I felt that okay, people needs to see. I was very impressed with what the locals were doing. Okay, it was more about showing the plight of that place so that some action can happen. It went viral, and yes, I think action happened on the same day. So I'm happy about that.
Okay, Arjun Mohan of upGrad, thank you very much for talking to us on Melt.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap on this episode. You can follow Melt on social media. The handle is Ready to Melt, or simply log on to readytomelt.com. If you'd like to follow me, it's @Suvenk on Twitter. Till next week, goodbye and thanks for watching.